Hi guys, MrSpaceman reporting for duty. I hope you're enjoying the festival of football that is EURO2020. As always, this tournament provides plenty of shocks and surprises, and it's always hard to predict the outcome of the entire tournament. This year, Italy went into the tournament not as the clear favorites, but as the dark horses. However, we were all pleasantly surprised at the attacking flair that Mancini has managed to add to the Azzurri, as the side dominated the group by beating Turkey 3-0, Switzerland 3-0, and Wales 1-0. This video will focus on the tactical style, covering how Mancini structures his team and how his players moves on the pitch. I will be using Football Manager to help you visualize how the Italian side operates, and of course you'll be able to download this tactic for your own Football Manager 21 career. The link will be down in the description below. Before we get into it, I would like to give a shout out to Passion4FM, who has helped me immensely with research and was always available to chat to discuss tactics. There will be an article posted on the Passion4FM website about in-depth dive into Italian tactics. Link is down below. So let's jump into Mancini's 4-3-3. First of all, I would like to say that this tactic was pretty hard to make. Football is obviously much more complicated than FM21, and there are plenty of times where I had to take creative liberties. On paper, Italy line up in a 4-3-3 with a big emphasis on using width and half spaces. The manipulation of those half spaces is what makes the Italian side so difficult to stop. Italy manages to turn a very symmetric 4-3-3 on paper into a very asymmetric one. Players like Spinazzola are very aggressive on the pitch on the attack, whilst Florenzi typically slots in as a slightly offset third center back, leaving space for Barella to shift towards the flank. To cover for Spinazzola, Locatelli also operates in the half spaces, both acting as an extra option to switch the play in the attack and as defensive cover for the marauding wingback. Further up the pitch, Immobile acts as a spearhead of the attack, around whom the attack can be organized, but he also tends to drop lower to help with the build-up play. Insigne and Berardi's roles are also quite asymmetrical, as even though both players are tasked with staying as wide as possible on attacks, Insigne is given much more freedom to roam and cut inside, whilst Berardi sometimes almost acts as a winger. When they lose possession in small numbers upfield, the Italians tend to regroup around the halfway line and set up a very organized low block. However, if they see a chance to press, it is almost instantaneous and all players shift at the same time, ensuring that no gaps are formed. In terms of build-up play, the Italians prefer a slow passing game moving the ball with passing triangles being formed around Jorginho and Barella, as seen in the Turkey and Switzerland game, and around Jorginho and Verratti in the Wales game. The keeper tends to distribute the ball short, either to the centre-backs or to the full-backs, depending on who's closer, and the passes typically go directly to Jorginho, or the left-sided centre-mid. This way, the ball keeps moving up in a sort of vertical tiki-taka, as the ball is moving up the field with short passes and not sideways, and when a chance is seen to play the ball between the lines, Jorginho is not afraid to pull the trigger. Recreating this tactic in FM was a very hard task. First, a huge disclaimer. If your tactic doesn't have good attacking wingbacks and wingers, then unfortunately it won't work for you. Now that this is out the way, let's jump into the Italian 4-3-3 in Football Manager. It was almost impossible to select a single role for players like the left center mid, right back, striker and the right winger, as they seem to be quite fluid between the roles. Starting off at the back, we have a standard goalkeeper, Spinazzola as a complete wingback, Chiellini as a central defender on stopper role, whilst Bonucci acts as a standard defender. I decided to make Di Lorenzo a fullback, as during the games neither him nor Florenzi pushed up high too often, with a player instruction to sit narrow. The midfield three was slightly altered as well, because I didn't like the fact how far Locatelli pushed up as a box-to-box midfielder, so he became a secondo volante with a player instruction to move into channels. Both Jorginho and Barella had realistic roles at deep line playmaker on defend and Mezzala on attack, with instructions to dribble more and run wide with the ball to better simulate Barella's game style. The front three was also tough to simulate, as it was almost impossible to define Immobile's role, but I stuck with a complete forward on support, which I changed back and forth to attack to simulate how he acted in real games. Insigne had the role of inside forward on attack with the instruction to roam from position like he normally does, and Berardi was given the role of a winger. Judging by his player heat maps during the games, it was evident that he wasn't cutting in as much as Insigne, so this is why I picked the wing option. In possession, we attack with width using the flanks, but overlapping only on the left hand side. In the final third, the instructions of shoot on sight and run a defense were selected to once again mimic the Italian style of play based on the first three games. In transition, like mentioned previously, the Azzurri like to regroup when lost possession, but counter when the possession has been won. And finally, the team compressed the midfield out of possession by lowering the line of engagement and not pressing high with the defensive lines to avoid quick counters. This tactic was used to dominate the Euros, as Italy only conceded 4 goals in 7, out of which 1 was a header from a corner, and the rest were shots outside the box, as Italy won the Euro 2020. Italy scored the most goals in the tournament with 14 and had completed the third highest number of passes with 90% accuracy. Italy won the Euros, and it was incredible. But since for this tactic we mainly focus on trying to replicate real-life Mancini tactics for a single tournament, the next step is to test this tactic in club football, with more games, more rotation and more competitions. We decided to simulate this tactic with AC Milan as they had the perfect combination of strong wingers and a very attacking wingback, Theo Hernandez. The season was a relative success as Milan won the league, beating Juventus by 4 points. The result could have been even better as Milan managed to lose 3 times in the last 4 games, but by then it was too late for anyone else to catch up. AC Milan had the second most number of goals in the league and the least number of goals conceded. Even though the goal per game was not as high as some of my other tactics, it was enough to win the league. Goals were spread between 4 of our most offensive players, and Kessie popped up with 11 goals, similar to how Locatelli is doing this Euros. Most of our assists came from the left back and our Mezzala player. In this case, mostly Çalhanoğlu, as he played 27 games in the Mezzala role. Unfortunately, we didn't win any more silverware as we got knocked out by Dinamo Zagreb in the second knockout round of the Euro Cup and by Lazio in the quarterfinal of the Italian Cup. The Mancini tactic worked quite well for Milan as they managed to score freely but remained strong at the back. But I wanted more, so I tweaked the tactic and tried the simulation again. The goal of this new iteration was to add more to our attack without sacrificing our defensive capabilities. Thus, I switched from having a segundo volante to a ball-winning midfielder with the instruction to cover the flank. That way, when Theo Hernandez went up, we had some cover in the fullback position. I also changed the defensive-minded deep-lying playmaker into a more offensive regista that would help carry the ball forward and create chances. And finally, I added a more classical striker that would give more structure to our attacks. AC Milan still won the league, this time more comfortably with 93 points, scoring 19 more goals and conceding the same. This time our forwards contributed much more as Zlatan and Rafael Leao scored 26 goals and 21 respectively, both in 36 appearances. Even Kessie popped up with 14 goals from deep. The squad performed very well as they now score 2.29 goals per game, which was the second best in the league, whilst conceding 0.6, which was the best. Our assists once again came from our Mezzala and wingback roles, so the tactic still somewhat resembles the Mancini one. And finally, as an extra bonus, AC Milan has managed to win the Euro Cup, beating Atalanta in the final 3-1. Now, you have 2 options for your personal save. Do you want to stick with the Mancini's 4-3-3 or Spaceman's 4-3-3? Both links will be available down below, so try it out for yourself. If you do, don't forget to tell me which tactic and team you used and how it did for you. If you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to hit that like button to please the YouTube algorithm gods and subscribe to my channel for more Euro 2020 and Football Manager content, as more videos like this will be coming your way soon. As mentioned before, don't forget to check out the Passion for FM site as they have recently rebranded their channel and are producing some quality content. Also, this video couldn't have been possible without Dodgee Gamer's Euro 2020 Real Groups mod. The link will also be in the description. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you at some point in the future. Bye guys!